Owning a football club looks glamorous. Private boxes, global fame, and lifting trophies. But behind that illusion lies one of the most ruthless financial games in the world. Billionaires don't buy clubs just to win. They buy power, influence, and global control. Some clubs print money, others quietly drain fortunes. The real question is owning a football club a smart investment, or the most expensive ego trip on earth? Stay with me till the end, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more elite breakdowns. The billion-dollar entry game. Football club ownership has evolved into a high-stakes financial battlefield where only the ultra-wealthy can compete. Clubs like Manchester United and Real Madrid are no longer sports teams in the traditional sense. They are global commercial giants valued in the billions. This valuation is driven by worldwide fan bases, brand licensing power, and long-term media revenue potential. Even mid-tier clubs in the Premier League command enormous prices due to guaranteed broadcasting income. What makes this market uniquely aggressive is speculative investment logic. Owners are buying future dominance, not current performance. A single qualification for elite competitions can dramatically increase valuation. This has transformed football into an exclusive investment class, where billionaires, sovereign wealth funds, and private equity groups compete to control assets that combine sport, media, and global influence. Where the money really comes from. Modern football clubs operate as complex revenue engines built on three dominant pillars: broadcasting, matchday income, and commercial partnerships. Broadcasting remains the most powerful driver, particularly in the Premier League, where multi-billion-dollar TV deals provide consistent financial security. Matchday revenue extends far beyond ticket sales, incorporating premium hospitality, corporate boxes, and immersive stadium experiences designed to maximize per-fan spending. Commercial income, however, is where elite clubs dominate. Global sponsorship deals, merchandise sales, and strategic partnerships generate enormous cash flow. Clubs also monetize international fan bases through pre-season tours and digital ecosystems. Yet the system is structurally unequal, with top clubs capturing a disproportionate share of global revenue. Missing out on competitions like the UEFA Champions League can instantly erase tens of millions, proving that financial stability in football is directly tied to consistent elite-level performance. The player market represents the most unpredictable and high-risk financial layer in football economics. Players are treated as appreciating or depreciating assets, with transfer fees often exceeding 100 million euros and wages reaching extraordinary levels. Clubs rely on accounting strategies like amortization to distribute transfer costs across contract durations, masking the immediate financial impact. However, this system is inherently fragile. A single injury, tactical misfit, or drop in performance can rapidly destroy a player's market value. Clubs such as Borussia Dortmund and Benfica have built sustainable models by identifying young talent early and selling at peak value. In contrast, poorly managed clubs accumulate expensive liabilities, players on high wages with minimal contribution and no resale potential. This makes recruitment strategy a decisive factor, where intelligent decision-making can generate massive profits, while poor judgment creates long-term financial damage. Wage bill war, the silent club killer. Wage expenditure is the most dangerous financial pressure point in football, quietly determining whether a club thrives or collapses. In many cases, wages consume over 70% of total revenue, leaving minimal room for operational flexibility. The competitive nature of football forces clubs into constant salary escalation, as retaining elite talent requires matching or exceeding market rates. This creates a vicious cycle where financial commitments rise faster than sustainable income. Regulations like financial fair play attempt to impose discipline, but loopholes and creative accounting practices often weaken enforcement. When results fail to match investment, clubs are left with inflated wage structures that become impossible to maintain. This often leads to emergency player sales, restructuring, or long-term decline. The reality is uncompromising. Clubs that fail to control wages sacrifice stability, while those that enforce discipline maintain long-term competitiveness and financial resilience. Debt strategy. Risk or genius move? Debt in football is not merely a liability. It is a strategic instrument that can either accelerate growth or trigger collapse. Many acquisitions are structured through leveraged buyouts, where owners shift the financial burden onto the club itself. This forces the club to generate sufficient revenue to service the debt incurred during its purchase. While controversial, this model can unlock rapid expansion when supported by strong commercial performance. Debt is also used to finance stadium development, infrastructure upgrades, and squad investment, all of which can increase long-term value. However, the downside is relentless interest payments reduce available cash flow and increase dependence on consistent success. Clubs with volatile performance face the greatest risk, as fluctuating revenues make debt obligations harder to sustain. In football's unpredictable environment, debt becomes a high-stakes gamble where disciplined management builds dominance, but miscalculation leads to financial instability or collapse. State-backed ownership has fundamentally redefined football's economic structure, shifting it from private investment to geopolitical strategy. Clubs supported by sovereign wealth funds operate with financial strength that traditional owners cannot match, enabling aggressive spending on players, infrastructure, and global branding. These investments are rarely driven by profit alone. They function as instruments of soft power, enhancing international image and influence. High-value sponsorships and rapid commercial expansion often follow, accelerating dominance on and off the pitch. Critics argue this creates structural imbalance and undermines competitive fairness, while supporters frame it as evolution. The reality is undeniable. Football clubs under state ownership are no longer just sporting entities. They are strategic assets in a global competition for visibility, prestige, and long-term influence. Broadcasting rights sit at the core of football's financial ecosystem, dictating the economic hierarchy of clubs and leagues. Competitions like the UEFA Champions League generate enormous revenue, distributing millions to participating clubs and reinforcing elite dominance. The Premier League leads the global market with multi-billion-dollar television agreements and a relatively balanced distribution model that sustains even smaller clubs. International broadcasting has transformed football into a constant global spectacle, expanding audiences across continents and time zones. The rise of streaming platforms is now challenging traditional broadcasters, signaling a shift in consumption patterns. Clubs are increasingly dependent on media income, making broadcasting deals the most critical financial driver in modern football economics. Football operates on a ruthless performance economy, where success directly converts into financial gain. Winning trophies and qualifying for elite competitions unlock substantial prize money, sponsorship bonuses, and global exposure. Participation in the UEFA Champions League alone delivers massive financial rewards, making qualification a primary objective for top clubs. This creates a high-risk environment where owners invest heavily in squads to secure results. However, failure carries immediate financial consequences, including lost revenue streams and reduced commercial appeal. The system rewards aggression but punishes miscalculation, making football one of the most volatile industries. Clubs must constantly balance ambition with sustainability, as a single unsuccessful season can destabilize long-term financial planning. Fans are the driving force behind football's entire economic model, transforming emotional loyalty into measurable financial value. Their engagement fuels ticket sales, merchandise revenue, and global brand expansion. Modern clubs have evolved to monetize this connection through memberships, exclusive content, and international fan experiences. Digital platforms and social media have expanded fan bases beyond geographical limits, turning clubs into global brands with millions of active consumers. However, this relationship is highly sensitive. Poor performance, ownership decisions, or ethical controversies can trigger backlash that directly impacts revenue. Smart clubs prioritize fan engagement as a long-term strategy, recognizing that sustained emotional connection ensures financial stability. In football, loyalty is not just cultural. It is one of the most powerful and reliable economic assets. Owning a football club is rarely a straightforward financial decision. It exists at the intersection of profit, power, and personal ambition. While some investors approach clubs as long-term assets with growth potential, many owners pursue prestige, influence, and global recognition. Clubs often function as branding vehicles, enhancing reputations and expanding business networks, rather than delivering consistent financial returns. Football's unique structure, blending sport, media, and politics, makes profitability unpredictable and secondary in many cases. The most successful owners understand this balance, leveraging clubs for strategic advantage beyond direct income. Ultimately, football ownership cannot be reduced to a single motive. It is simultaneously an investment, a political tool, and a symbol of status, making it one of the most complex economic arenas in the world.